Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I have with me a senior professional and a quintessential networker, Mr. Salil Agrawal from India. Salil, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashutosh.
Salil is an author, mentor, and coach. He is an author of a book titled A Chapter Out of My Life. So, Salil, let's start with the networking. I understand you organize IIM meetups. Tell me what goes into arranging such meetups.
Okay, so Ashutosh, we have been arranging these get-togethers since December 2008. Right? In fact, if I go a step back, it started when I was in Bhopal, which is a small town, and I was eager to meet people with similar background. So I identified, this is in the 90s. So I identified professionals and, professionals, I focused on people from business schools and identified about 12 of them. And we started meeting once a quarter in Bhopal. And this went on for some years.
Right.
And this was such a good experience that I wanted to extend that to Gurgaon. And I leveraged the alumni chapter. And we said, let's start and see how people respond. And the response was great. The first 2-3 meetings were so well attended and people enjoyed themselves. This has become a continuous event since December 2008, barring the COVID and barring the couple of years of COVID where we couldn't meet physically. We have had 130 events, approximately 30 people attend each event. And we have kept it very simple. We've created means of communication. It used to be Yahoo groups. It's now a WhatsApp chat. Communicate the event to the people. We don't have any registration. We don't have any pay in advance. People just show up. People just come, meet, talk. We create the right environment in the event. I'm usually always there to welcome them. If not me, then there's someone else in place of me who's doing that role. People just come and buy their own drinks. We try and get some snacks organized, and it's simple and it's fun, and people just keep coming back. So every single event, we find that there are 10 to 15 people who are regulars, and then invariably we have 10 to 15 new people, and it just amazing.
Fantastic. So tell me, why would all these people come? I mean, everyone wants to network, I'm assuming. So my question to you is, how important is networking in our lives, both professionally and personally?
Okay. So I have done consulting for a very large part of my life. And I think consulting cannot be sold through cold calls or knocking at doors. And consulting business comes to you, especially if you are not a brand, if you're a small consultant on your own. Business comes to you because people know you, because people respect you, because people trust you, because people are aware that you do something. And I think for anyone who is in a business where it's important to know people, networking is important, very, very important. But on the other hand, networking is also important because I think it fulfills a very strong social need, right? People organize parties, people organize get-togethers, and they are typically family get-togethers and, get-togethers of friends. Now, you are extremely lucky if you have a group of 20, 30 friends who meet regularly. Otherwise, you're always looking for people who can talk to you on the same wavelength. And one of my challenges is to find those people who are not talking about, mundane things, but talking about things that probably you and I will love to have conversations on, and I don't want to sort of sound condescending, but, an intelligent conversation, if I may, right? And I think that makes a lot of difference. It provides a lot of vigor, at least to me it does. And I think all the people who come back for these conversations.
Very interesting.
A lot of people also come back because they find that these connections help them eventually. And, it just keeps going on.
So one of the other things that I have noticed in such kind of meetups is the wide age gap between people.
Correct.
How are the younger people finding it beneficial to network with more senior, much older people, and vice versa, of course?
Okay, so the younger people, I think there are two sets of younger people. There's a set of younger people who do not value this, right? Who are sort of in the whole, domain of social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, Instagram now, etc., etc. And I think that the world revolves around them. And quite honestly, I think in the younger generation, the physical meetups have actually gone down. And, people talk of experiences, they talk of meeting one-on-one and stuff, things like that. But I think there is huge value in meeting a diverse set of people. I think for me personally, I learn from as much from people my age as from people 40 years younger to me. Right. And I think it's great fun because someone will come up and we start talking of something and they'll come up with something which you have never heard about. And then if it's of interest, you'll come back and say, oh, that was a very interesting conversation. That was a very interesting topic. Let me know more about that. And I know youngsters who feel the same way. So, but you are absolutely right. I think everyone in that generation does not necessarily believe in networking. I was saying that the generation X does not necessarily respond as much as the older people, but most of the people, the people who come enjoy it.
Okay. And what about the older people? Do they think there's any benefit they get from networking with younger people, or is it not really of any value?
So again, it's a mixed bag. Some people come there because they like meeting young people. I, for one, like I said, I learn from every conversation. I think it keeps me feeling young. I enjoy the conversations with the younger people. I get their perspectives. And, there are many like me who come. But the other thing that happens in these meetups is a lot of people who come there think that they will come for a few meetups and they come because they're looking for something specific. So you will find people coming who are either looking for a job. You'll find people coming who have become an entrepreneur and looking for clients and assignments. So my perspective on this is that it is not about just it's not a spot thing. It's not that you can do it now and get something going. It's about doing it consistently to build your network, which makes a difference.
Okay. And my next question to you is for someone who does so much networking and who's built so many networks, how should one start to build a network?
I think the simplest thing today that I would recommend to people is to first get onto LinkedIn and make sure that you have a good LinkedIn profile and you're starting to connect and engage with people on LinkedIn. Find opportunities to go to, business events, go to industry events, talk to people. I think the barrier of walking up to someone and saying hi is something that needs to be overcome. People are hesitant of walking up to people and saying hi. They're not sure whether it's acceptable or not acceptable, and it's everywhere. You go and sit in an airplane and you don't talk to the person next to you. I always talk to the person sitting next to me, and invariably, barring a few people who have said, "Listen, I'm too tired" or "I just not in the mood," I think most people have enjoyed the conversation and love to talk.
Okay. So one is you saying to start to build a network is to get a LinkedIn profile. What else? I mean, if someone is not a part of the IIM network,
right.
I mean, and this conversation will be heard by many, many different people.
Sure.
What should one do to build a network?
So like I said, there are multiple organizations that are doing something similar. One of the organizations that I know of is Internations, right? They try and organize these meetups. There are other similar things happening around us. I think we just need to discover. Another very interesting thing that I found just recently is a walking group. And that's also an interesting place to meet people. The meetings do not have to be over a drink. Meetings can happen over any social event, right? People don't even walk out in the community and talk to each other. People don't even get out in the neighborhood and talk to each other. So I think it's important to just be there, just get out and talk to people. I think the networking starts at not by identifying and saying, I want to network with so and so, but networking happens when you say, oh, I want to meet people and I enjoy meeting people.
Very good. And does at any stage, does too much networking become a problem?
I guess yes and no. For me, the only challenge that has been of too much networking is one, how do you devote your time for that?
Mm-hmm.
Two, if you know too many people, you start getting too many demands for your time. People will come and say, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the right attitude, at least my attitude is, if I can do it, I say yes. And if I can't do it, I say no.
Mm-hmm.
And the small tip there would be that, learning to be able to say no and recognizing that saying no is not a problem is something that, again, needs to be learned.
Mm-hmm. So my next question to you is that, in today's world, people believe that if they have a lot of followers and a lot of likes on social media, they've got a lot of networks, and yet they're probably very, very lonely people. What are your perspectives on social media for networks?
So social media for networks, I think people with a lot of followers, people with a lot of, connects are, do act as influencers.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that fulfills their social need of connecting with people, talking to people, engaging with people, and again, what I also feel is that a lot of people on social media do not necessarily project their true image. So they are not necessarily who they are as a person as to what they are on social media. And I would like to know the real Ashutosh rather than Ashutosh who is there on Instagram posting some pictures once a week or once a day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Salil, now let's move to your book. You're the author of a book titled A Chapter Out of My Life. First, tell me, is it available on Amazon?
Yes, it's available on Amazon.
Okay.
On Kindle and as hardcopy.
Wonderful. So tell me about this book, your hypothesis, and what was your motivation to write it?
Okay, so I have always wanted to write a book, right? It's something that's been on my mind for many years. I've been wanting to pen down something, it was somewhere, my father used to say, hey, you should write a book. And so this book is actually dedicated to my father, who's no more. And I realized that every time I picked up and came up with a theme and some kind of an idea of what I should write about, I ended up finishing the book in 15, 20 pages, and that does not make a book, right? Because, I'm not very good at elaborating, right? I can speak very well, I can talk, I can engage with people, but, that's a two-way conversation. Book is more of a one-way conversation, and that one-way conversation, I realized that, I stumbled for words. So more recently, I came up with this idea of a crowdsourced book, and I said, listen, let me get other people to help me complete a book which makes sense for the world. So it's not just about my book, it's more about making sure that there is a book which is making sense for people and people will remember me for something like that. So we collected stories from 19 different people. I call them gems from the lives of interesting people, or rather gems from the lives of ordinary people.
Okay.
Because these are the people who are not going to ever write their biography. These are the people who are not going to publish stories anywhere else. And each one of them, in my view, has an interesting story in their life, actually more. But I urge them to pick up one interesting story from their life, which they think makes a difference to society. And we collected 19 such stories and put them together in a book. The book is not preachy. We have not tried to draw inferences and say, this is how you should do, this is what you should do. It's for the reader to make out what they do. We've just kept it to the story itself, right? And that's where it ends. So I think the response has been excellent.
Okay. And for my viewers and listeners, can you give me one or two examples of stories without any names, of course?
Sure. So let me take half a minute to tell you about my own story. So my own story talks about how my life has happened. It's called, my story is called Man Proposes, God Disposes.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've shared a few incidents where, we wanted to, or I wanted to do something in a particular way, or I wanted my life to go in a particular direction. And it actually ended up going in a completely different direction.
Right.
Completely out of my control. And, the lesson that I want to send across, and what people will pick up from this is, it is acceptable if something like this happens, and you don't have to feel bad. And life is good in any case. So, and we all go through these situations. So when the people read this, they relate to it and they say, oh yeah, this does happen. Another person talks about how he actually decided not to join the corporate bandwagon and decided to become a social entrepreneur. Another person is trying to talk about how, as an entrepreneur, he was extremely stressed out and how he found the work-life balance and took the anchor of, a guru to help him manage his stress and life. So interesting stories. Another lady talks about a journey of how she became an entrepreneur, how the idea came to her.
And what is the kind of feedback you have received about the book from readers?
So the best feedback that I've received is, a business school actually ordering copies for all their first-year students. So they loved it. And the first year, they ordered it last year and they've ordered it again this year. So I'm assuming that everyone liked it and the feedback was great. People have loved the stories. People relate to the stories. I think every person relates to a different set of stories depending on what they are going through in their life at that point of time. So, the people that I've spoken to who have read the book have told me that, different people have told me that they like this story the best. So if I ask them which story did you like most, and different people will come up with a different story depending on their phase of life. So very, very happy with it, very happy. It's the biggest challenge right now is to actually get it across to more and more people and get more and more people to get to know about it and get to read it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I've got time for one more question, and this is a question for the many viewers and listeners who will listen to our conversation. Based on your vast experience, professional manager, as a mentor, as a coach, as a networker, as an author, what would you say are 3 lessons you would want our viewers and listeners to take away from this conversation?
Okay. So my lessons that I'm going to give you are probably a little, off course. They're not probably the classical answers that one expects here. So, and I know that you prepared me for this question, so I had a little time to think about it. And so the first one I wrote down for myself is accepting life. Accepting life as it comes, accepting life as a journey, and enjoying it, right? And there will be ups and downs, right? So the second lesson is that in this journey, there will be ups and downs, right? Enjoy the ups and, take the downs as they come along. And, there is no reason to be super excited about the ups or being dejected about the downs. And that's how you can lead a much more balanced and a happier life.
Right.
And my third lesson that I very strongly like to believe in is be nice to people. It all comes back to you, right? So if you spend your day, we talk of lots of things. Giving, a lot of people say giving is nice. Giving does not have to be in terms of money. Giving does not have to be in times in the form of objects. Giving is also in terms of talking nicely to people. Giving is also in terms of giving a little bit of your time to someone to listen. So being nice to people is my third one.
Wonderful. And if I can ask you to elaborate a little more, the 3 lessons that you have just given, can you relate them with some examples or anecdotes of your own life?
Anecdote specifically, I think largely what this has done for me, and this is something that I believe in very strongly, is that it keeps me happy, it keeps me going, it keeps me, I think it rubs off on the kind of energy levels that I have. Specific instances of this, I think, very difficult, but I think. would not be able to give you any specific instance.
No issues. So on that note, Salil, thank you so much for speaking to me. Thank you for talking to me about your vast experience as a networker and how important networking is for each one of us. Thank you for speaking to me about your book, A Chapter Out of My Life. I'll ask all my viewers and listeners to go and check out your book on Amazon and then take their call. And finally, thank you for sharing your 3 lessons. Thank you for speaking to me and good luck.
Thank you, Ashutosh. It was a pleasure speaking to you and wonderful meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to The Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for The Brand Called You.